The failed negotiations. The crystal walls of Harmony Station reflected the cold light of distant stars as ambassador. Elena Rodriguez walked through the corridor toward the negotiation chamber. Her footsteps echoed in the vast space, each sound a reminder of how alone humanity was in this moment. Behind her, Captain Marcus Chen adjusted his dress uniform one final time, while Dr. Sarah Kim clutched her datapad containing Earth's final proposals. "Remember," Elena said quietly to her team, "we're here to negotiate as equals, not as supplicants. If they won't treat us with respect, we walk away." The massive doors to the council chamber slid open with a hiss, revealing a circular room dominated by a crescent-shaped table. 5 alien species sat in their designated positions, each representing empires that had ruled the galaxy for millennia. The air itself seemed to vibrate with their collective disdain. Chancellor Vextara of the Caltherian Dominion rose first. Her tall insectoid frame clicked as she moved, and her multifaceted eyes caught the light like dark jewels. "The humans have finally arrived," she announced, her voice carrying the undertones of amusement. "How ... punctual." High Commander Zorkal of the Drakmor Federation remained seated, his massive form hunched over the table. His rock-like skin bore the scars of countless battles, and his yellow eyes fixed on the human delegation with obvious contempt. "Small creatures," he rumbled, coming to discuss matters beyond their understanding. The ancient speaker Thilani of the Etherian Collective floated above her designated space, her translucent form shimmering with energy patterns. When she spoke, her words seemed to come from everywhere at once. "The youngest species in the galaxy seeks to join the conversation of their elders. How ... quaint." Elena took her seat at the small section of the table designated for humanity. The symbolism wasn't lost on her. Their space was barely a quarter the size of any alien delegation's area. She opened her folder calmly and began to speak. "Honored representatives," she said, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber's acoustics. "The Terran Federation comes here today seeking a fair and equitable agreement for humanity's place in galactic society. We offer our unique perspectives, our innovations, and our commitment to peaceful coexistence." The Silurian representative, a slug-like being called Overlord Grimm, oozed forward slightly. "The humans speak of offering," he gurgled, "when they should be grateful for what we offer them." "And what exactly are you offering?" Captain Chun asked, leaning forward slightly. Chancellor Vextara's mandibles clicked in what Alina recognized as condescending laughter. "Protection, young ones. Guidance. A chance to learn from species who have mastered the art of civilization while your kind was still crawling in mud." Dr. Kim looked up from her notes. "With respect, Chancellor, humanity has made significant technological advances in our brief time in space. We've developed quantum communication networks, adaptive artificial intelligence, and breakthrough propulsion systems that toys," interrupted High Commander Zorkal. "Crude imitations of what we perfected eons ago. Your breakthroughs are children playing with blocks while adults build palaces." The 5th member of the council, Administrator Kelter of the Nexus Syndicate, spoke for the first time. His cybernetic implants glowed as he accessed data files. "The humans have colonized 17 worlds in the past century," he stated mechanically. "We have reviewed their territories and found them suitable for redistribution among more capable species." Elena felt her jaw tighten, but she kept her voice level. "Those worlds were legally settled according to the Galactic Colonization Accords. We have sovereign rights to..." "Rights?" Speaker Silani's laughter was like wind chimes in a hurricane. "Dear child, rights are earned through strength and wisdom. Your species has demonstrated neither. Perhaps," Elena said carefully, "we should discuss the specific terms of the agreement you're proposing." Chancellor Vextara gestured to a holographic display that materialized above the table. The image showed human space with territorial boundaries marked in red. "The Caltherian Dominion will assume protective custody of the Centauri and Proxima systems. The Drakmor Federation will oversee the Teoseti and Volf colonies." The remaining human settlements will be administered by the Etherian Collective. And what of Earth? Captain Chun asked, his voice dangerously quiet. Earth will remain under human control, Overlord Grim gurgled, under the supervision of a joint council. We will guide your species toward proper development, preventing the violent tendencies that plague young civilizations. Dr. Kim was staring at the hologram in disbelief. You're talking about the complete dissolution of human independence. This isn't a negotiation, it's a surrender demand. Such emotional language, Administrator Kelter observed, his implants flickering. This is precisely why human governance is inadequate. Your species reacts with passion rather than logic. Elena stood slowly, her movements deliberate and controlled. Let me understand this correctly. You're offering to take control of our colonies, supervise our homeworld, and guide our development. And in return, you'll allow us to continue existing? Exactly. Chancellor Vextara-S' excitement was palpable. You begin to understand. It is a generous offer from the Galactic Council. Generous, Elena repeated, her voice flat. You consider the complete subjugation of humanity to be generous. High Commander Zorkal leaned forward, his massive frame creating shadows across the table. Human, you speak as if you have alternatives. Your tiny fleet, your primitive weapons, your isolated colonies, what can you possibly do against the combined might of the galaxy's true powers? Elena looked around the table at each alien representative. These beings had ruled the galaxy for so long that they couldn't conceive of being challenged. They saw humanity as a minor inconvenience, to be managed, not a potential equal to be respected. Captain Chun, she said quietly. Dr. Kim, please gather our materials. We're leaving. The silence in the chamber was deafening. Speaker Thilani's energy patterns flickered in confusion. Leaving? But we have not finished our discussion. Yes, we have, Elena replied, closing her folder. The Terran Federation respectfully declines your offer. Chancellor Vextara-S' mandibles clicked rapidly. Declines? You cannot decline. This is not a negotiation. This is the galaxy's verdict on humanity's future. Then the galaxy will have to revise its verdict, Elena said, walking toward the door. Her team followed, their expressions carefully neutral. Where will you go? Overlord Grimm called after them. What will you do? You are surrounded by superior civilizations? Your resources are limited? Your technology is primitive. Elena paused at the threshold and turned back. We'll figure something out. Humans are good at adapting. This is madness. High Commander. Zorkal roared, slamming his fist on the table. You will crawl back here within a solar cycle, begging for mercy. Perhaps, Elena said calmly, or perhaps not. The doors closed behind the human delegation with a soft hiss. In the corridor, Captain Chen let out a breath he'd been holding. Well, that went about as expected. Dr. Kim was already activating her secure communicator. I need to contact Earth immediately. The Council needs to know that diplomatic solutions are off the table. Elena nodded, but her expression remained thoughtful. They have no idea what they've just done. For 3,000 years, they've been the apex predators of the galaxy. They can't imagine that we might be something different. Something different? Chun asked. Something they've never encountered before, Elena replied. A species that doesn't surrender when faced with overwhelming odds. A species that gets stronger when cornered. A species that views impossible challenges as opportunities for innovation. Back in the chamber, the 5 alien representatives were still processing what had just occurred. Never in their long histories had a species simply walked away from the Galactic Council's judgment. They will be back, Chancellor Vikstara declared, though her voice lacked its earlier certainty. When they realize their situation is hopeless, they will return and accept our terms. And if they don't? Administrator Kelter asked, his implants running probability calculations. High Commander Zorkal's laugh was like grinding stone. Then we will drag them back in chains. Their defiance ends now. As the aliens began planning their response to human insubordination, Elena Rodriguez and her team were already aboard their ship, preparing for the journey back to Earth. The real negotiations were about to begin, but the Galactic Council didn't know that yet. Send the message, Elena ordered, as their ship cleared the station's docking bay. Tell them we tried the peaceful approach. Now it's time to show them what humanity is really capable of. The coded transmission raced through quantum space toward Earth, carrying just 4 words. Diplomacy has failed. Proceed. In the depths of space and hidden facilities that had been preparing for this moment for decades. Those 4 words would change everything. The Galactic Council had just made the biggest mistake in their long, proud history. They had underestimated humanity. The truth revealed 6 months after the failed negotiations. The Galactic Council was no longer laughing. In the crystal chamber of Harmony Station, the same 5 alien representatives sat around their crescent table. But the atmosphere had changed dramatically. The air hummed with tension instead of arrogance. Chancellor Vexthara S. Mandibles clicked nervously as she reviewed the latest reports on her holographic display. 3 more Caltharian supply convoys have disappeared in the Vega sector, she announced, her voice lacking its former condescension. Our sensors detected no enemy vessels, no weapons discharge, nothing. They simply vanished. High Commander Zorkal slammed his rocky fist on the table, causing the entire structure to vibrate. Impossible. The Drakmor Federation has lost 17 patrol fleets in the past month. These humans cannot have developed such capabilities in mere months. Perhaps, Speaker Thilier's voice wavered with uncertainty, we underestimated their technological advancement. Overlord Grimm oozed forward, his slug-like form glistening with anxiety. The human colonies we plan to occupy... They're gone, not destroyed, not abandoned, gone. As if they never existed. Administrator Keltor's cybernetic implants flickered rapidly as he processed incoming data. My calculations indicate that human military capabilities have increased by over 3,000% since the negotiations. This is statistically impossible. The chamber fell silent except for the hum of life support systems. Each representative was grappling with the same terrible realization. Their understanding of humanity had been completely wrong. The silence was broken by the arrival of an unexpected visitor. The chamber doors opened to reveal a figure that made every alien in the room freeze. It was Elena Rodriguez, but she was no longer wearing diplomatic attire. Instead, she wore a crisp military uniform adorned with insignia that spoke of decades of service and command. Honored representatives, Elena said, her voice carrying an authority that hadn't been present during the negotiations. I believe. You've been looking for me? Chancellor Vexthara-S' multifaceted eyes focused on Elena with growing alarm. How did you get past our security? This station is protected by the finest technology in the galaxy. Elena smiled, but it wasn't a diplomatic smile. Is it, Dr. Kim? Would you care to explain? Dr. Sarah Kim materialized beside Elena, but her appearance had changed as well. Gone was the nervous scientist clutching a data pad. In her place stood a woman whose bearing spoke of absolute confidence in her abilities. Your security systems are indeed impressive, she said, but they're also predictable. We've been inside your networks for months. Months? Speaker Thilania's energy patterns flickered with confusion. But the negotiations were never the beginning, Elena interrupted. They were the end. The final. Attempt to resolve this peacefully. Captain Marcus Chun stepped into the chamber, and the aliens noticed that his uniform now displayed the insignia of a fleet admiral. We've been preparing for this conversation for a very long time, he said. 3 years to be precise. High Commander Zorkal struggled to process this information. 3 years? But first contact was only first official contact, Elena corrected. We've been watching you for much longer than that. Learning your languages, studying your technologies, mapping your territories. The holographic display in the center of the chamber suddenly activated without any input from the alien representatives. The image showed the galaxy, but not as they knew it, Hundreds of star systems that they thought were empty or uninhabited now glowed with human presence. "This is impossible," Administrator Kelter whispered, his implants struggling to process the scope of what they were seeing. "Our survey showed no human presence in these sectors." Dr. Kim's smile was patient, almost pitying. "You found exactly what we wanted you to find. While you were cataloging 17 human colonies, we were actually establishing over 400. 100. Chancellor Vextara-S voice was barely a whisper. "Stealth technology," Elena explained casually. "Something we developed while you were busy convincing yourselves that you were the masters of the galaxy. Would you like to see some of our other innovations?" Without waiting for an answer, Elena activated her personal communicator. "Admiral Torres, please show our guests the Pacific Fleet." The chamber's window suddenly filled with the sight of massive starships materializing from apparently empty space. The vessels were unlike anything in the Galactic Council's databases, sleek, predatory, and clearly built for war. Each ship was easily 3 times the size of the largest alien dreadnoughts. "Quantum stealth fields," Dr. Kim explained matter-of-factly. "We can render entire fleets invisible to any sensor technology currently in use. We've been testing it on your patrol routes for months." Overlord Grimm's form quivered with fear. "The missing convoys ... The disappeared patrols. All perfectly safe," Elena assured him. "We disabled their vessels, studied their technology, and sent them home with carefully crafted stories about equipment failures. We needed to understand your capabilities before revealing our own." High Commander Zorkal's warrior instincts finally overcame his shock. "You may have tricks, but you cannot match the combined military might of the galaxy. We have ships numbering in the millions." "You had ships numbering in the millions," Captain Chun corrected. "Admiral Kim, please show them the current status of their fleets." The holographic display shifted to show the real-time locations of every major alien military vessel. Red markers indicated ships that had been disabled or were currently under human control. The vast majority of each species' fleets were marked in red. "Nanite infiltration," Dr. Kim explained. "We've been introducing self-replicating microscopic machines into your supply chains for months. They're currently integrated into about 80% of your military hardware. You can disable any of your ships at will." The silence in the chamber was deafening. Each alien representative was staring at the display, watching their empire's military might reduce to markers on a human-controlled map. Asterisk. "Why?" Speaker Ceylani finally asked, her energy patterns dim with defeat. "Why reveal this now? You could have destroyed us all without warning." Elena's expression softened slightly. "Because we're not conquerors. We're explorers, innovators, and yes, sometimes we're warriors. But we prefer to build rather than destroy." She gestured to the holographic display, which now showed a new image, the galaxy as it could be, with human and alien territories coexisting peacefully. "We came to your negotiations hoping for partnership. You offered us subjugation. Now we're offering you partnership on equal terms." Chancellor Vextara-S mandibles clicked rapidly. "Equal terms? But you have demonstrated complete superiority. Why would you offer equality when you could demand submission?" "Because," Elena said simply, "that's not who we are. Humanity becomes stronger through cooperation, not domination. Your species have knowledge and perspectives that we value. We want allies, not subjects." Administrator Kelter-S implants flickered as he processed this unprecedented situation. "What are your terms?" Elena smiled, and for the first time, it was genuinely warm. "Full recognition of human sovereignty over our chosen territories. Establishment of trade agreements based on mutual benefit. Cultural exchange programs. Joint research initiatives. And most importantly, a guarantee that no species will ever again attempt to subjugate another. And if we refuse," High Commander Zorkal asked. Though his voice lacked its former aggression, Captain Chun's response was matter-of-fact. "Then you'll find that your military capabilities have been permanently compromised. Your supply lines will continue to fail. Your communication networks will remain unreliable. Your territories will gradually become ungovernable. But, Elena added quickly, we'd prefer to avoid that outcome. The galaxy is vast enough for all of us to prosper. Dr. Kim activated another display, showing technological innovations that could benefit all species. Imagine what we could accomplish together. Human adaptability combined with Keltherian precision. Drachmore strength enhanced by Etherian wisdom. Silurian biotechnology merged with Nexus cybernetics. The alien representatives exchanged glances, each recognizing the truth of their situation. They had been outmaneuvered so completely that they hadn't even realized they were in a conflict until it was over. How long do we have to consider your terms? Speaker Silani asked. Take all the time you need, Elena replied. But understand that the galaxy has already changed. Humanity is no longer the youngest species seeking approval from its elders. We're your equals whether you acknowledge it or not. As the human delegation prepared to leave, Chancellor Vexthara called out one final question. How? How did you achieve such advancement so quickly? Elena paused at the threshold and smiled. You made a fundamental error in your assessment of humanity. You assumed that because we were young, we were naive. Because we were small, we were weak. Because we sought peace, we were helpless. But humans have one advantage that none of your species possess, she continued. When faced with impossible odds, we don't surrender. We innovate, we adapt, we find a way. You spent 3,000 years as apex predators, Captain Chun added, comfortable in your dominance. We spent 3,000 years learning to survive in a universe that seemed designed to kill us. That gave us very different perspectives on what's possible. Dr. Kim nodded. You saw negotiation as granting privileges to inferiors. We saw it as offering partnership to equals. When you refused, we simply proceeded to demonstrate why equality was in everyone's best interest. As the humans departed, the Galactic Council was left to contemplate a new reality. The young species they had dismissed as primitive had not only matched their technological capabilities, but had surpassed them. More importantly, they had done so while maintaining their principles of cooperation and mutual respect. The age of galactic dominance by ancient empires was over. The age of true cooperation among equals had begun, and it had started with a simple human refusal to accept subjugation as the price of survival in the depths of space. Human colonies that had been hidden for years began to emerge from stealth. Trade routes that had been secretly established became open highways of commerce. Research stations that had been developing technologies beyond alien imagination started sharing their discoveries. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their military might. It was their unwavering belief that different species could work together as equals, and their absolute refusal to accept any other arrangement. The Galactic Council had offered humanity a place in the universe as subjects. Humanity had politely declined and then proceeded to take their place as equals. The galaxy would never be the same. Asterisk.